True North Reviews, True North Reviews, True North Reviews.
Hey there, welcome to True North Reviews. My name is Ryan, and today we are discussing the Taylor Swift record, Evermore. After releasing one of the stronger chamber pop albums of 2020 in Folklore, Swift claims that she and her team couldn't stop writing and had more than enough songs for a sequel or sister project. And that's exactly what Evermore is. It is a record that doubles down on indie folk scenery, it is a second helping of Folklore, and it is a commendable one at that, despite being the second surprise release from Swift in the same calendar year. Right from the beginning, Evermore captivates its audience with the lead single, Willow, a much stronger lead single than Cardigan, I must add. Certainly more engaging with its plucked instrumental. Now, while it remains a white girl, whitewash singer-songwriter tune, I can't deny its wondrous and adventurous vibes. Even when Taylor says that she comes back stronger than a 90s trend, I can brush aside that cute line. Now, at the crux of Evermore, this is a straightforward record. The songwriting is very simple and repetitive at times, but instead of running ideas thin, it's mostly beautiful and entrancing. For example, the cuts Champagne Problems and Gold Rush are equally plain and understated with their chord progressions, but are made up with gorgeous vocal harmonies and seamless rhymes that maintain a logical and coherent narrative. Proceeding beyond that, the next couple tracks are rather somber and reserved. Tolerate It is heartbreaking and inviting for an intimate listening experience. Sparse with its keys and faint electronic drums in the background, Tolerate It is one of the more emotional tunes on Evermore, that's for sure. If that kind of song isn't your cup of tea and you find yourself falling asleep, instead look no further than the cut No Body, No Crime featuring Haim. This song is sure to wake you up from your slumber. No Body, No Crime is not only a notable return to Taylor's country roots, but what it offers with its songwriting might just make it the crown jewel of Evermore. Establishing a crime scene with distant sirens and then detailing a murder story entangled with infidelity, Taylor brilliantly switches point of view in the final chorus and outro while singing one of the biggest earworms I've heard all year long. Maintaining an upbeat mood, or at least as far as you can go with that for indie folk, Dorothea struts along with piano, acoustic guitar, and tambourine that remind me of a Father John Misty composition, possibly from God's Favorite Customer. However, instead of taking a page directly out of the Josh Tillman playbook without giving him credit, Taylor charms her listeners and puts her pop sensibilities into action. Something that I found incredibly forced on Reputation's trap-leaning aesthetics, but with Folklore and again on Evermore, the genre adjustment is pulled off effortlessly. Knowing other parts of Swift's songwriting appeal, many of her fans and critics love when she has the slightest sense of reflection in her lyrics, especially anything beyond the typical breakup song that she's written a million times over. The tracks Happiness and Marjorie fill that desire on Evermore with definitive self-love statements. While these sentiments would nearly go unnoticed for other artists, Taylor spellbinds her listeners with beautiful performances, especially with Marjorie's softly reassuring harmonies and reverbed instrumental. Now, with the rest of Evermore, there are a handful of cuts that sound like they're reusing ideas from Folklore. 'Tis the Damn Season comes to mind as it treads a familiar path with similar guitar styles and patterns which were on the song Peace. Coney Island featuring The National. I've never been a fan of The National, but my god, is this an absolute snooze fest. It's like it's constantly in the state of introduction, and I'm just waiting for Exile to start, but it just never happens. If Evermore is not busy attempting to recapture its most popular moments from Folklore, Taylor is also sidetracked with her own original sound. Cowboy Like Me is the prime suspect here. This song is as if Swift is doing her most derivative Lana Del Rey impression. There's just no saving this painfully uninspired track, no matter how much harmonica you throw on it, no matter how many times we hear Marcus Mumford in the background with his vocals. Fortunately, there is a strong finish to this project, a very strong one, I should say. That is kicked off with Long Story Short, a 1989 era pop song in disguise. Swap out the booming percussion and synth leads and inject some gentle sequenced drums, and you have a highlight in the making. Taylor's vocal melody here easily carries Long Story Short over the finish line, but a shout out to the subdued nature of the track is in order. Moving on to Closure, this has simple songwriting from the keyboards down to the vocal melody. The snickering of the drums that cut in and out of this track may be distracting for some, but I more than approve their presence. They emphasize this glitchy quality to the song that only assists Taylor in taking a more experimental approach to songwriting, which I'm of course here to encourage and stan. And lastly, that brings us to the finale, the title track, the closing track, Evermore. With this one, I didn't think it was possible for Taylor and Justin Vernon to recreate the success of Exile, but they get pretty damn close to doing exactly that. Complete with its tempo change and Vernon's signature falsetto, Evermore the song is a dream closer to not only this record, but this era of Taylor Swift's music. Unless she has another quarantine album up her sleeve in 2021, we'll have to wait and see, but overall, I am pleased with this Taylor Swift album. She's on a good streak ever since Reputation. Evermore in particular has a very strong start and finish. I maybe see 2 or 3 less songs on here that I enjoy compared to Folklore, but if this album goes under the radar, which I hope it doesn't, I mean, it's Taylor Swift after all, this album is still solid in comparison to its predecessor. In fact, had it been trimmed by 4 or 5 songs, Evermore easily could have topped Folklore, in my opinion, not only cohesively, but also stylistically and narratively. For now, I am feeling a light, decent 7 out of 10 on this project. So there you have it. Those are my thoughts on Evermore. Make sure you guys sound off down below in the comments. Tell me your thoughts. If you enjoy this music, if you agree or disagree, I'm here to engage with you guys. If you'd like to leave a like, subscribe if you're new in town, I'd appreciate that as always. Thanks for watching, and have a rockin' day.